The story of Pac-Man and Space Invaders. You walk into an old shop. Bookshelves line the walls. Faded posters whisper of a bygone era. Soft light filters through the glass, casting patterns on the floor. It evokes a strange, familiar feeling, one you can't quite name. And then, quite by chance, your eyes land on an old arcade machine tucked away in the corner. Dust covers the buttons. Yet the screen still glows faintly. It emits the familiar blips and tones you thought were long forgotten. Immediately, a flood of memories rushes back. You see yourself transported to those summer afternoons long ago. You and your friends gather at the mall. Coins in hand, eager to drop them into the machine. The flashing of the screen. The rhythmic sounds echoing through the hall. Neon lights flickering everywhere. It all feels as vivid as if it happened just yesterday. You suddenly recall the thrill of your heart racing as you dropped a coin into the machine. The anticipation as the screen lit up. The pure joy when Pac-Man gobbled the first cherry, or when you hit a row of aliens and Space Invaders. Every small detail, the laughter of friends, the scent of buttery candy, returns in vivid clarity. You smile quietly, amazed at how strongly these moments still resonate. By chance, encountering this old image, memories flow like a stream, reminding you that those simple moments, summer afternoons at the arcade, laughter, and excitement, still exist somewhere in your heart. Waiting to be relived once more. Flashback to the late 70s. Electronics slowly made their way into homes. A completely new world of entertainment began to emerge, arcade machines. At first, they were simple, rudimentary devices. But gradually, they became the heartbeat of shopping centers, movie theaters, and small cafes. Who could have imagined that a black box with a glowing screen and a few buttons could spark a nationwide craze? On summer afternoons, groups of teenagers clustered around the machines. Laughter, flickering screens, and playful tones blended into a wordless symphony of youth. Each arcade machine seemed like a living story. Everyone challenged themselves, competed for high scores, shared laughter, disappointment, and triumph after every turn. Arcades were more than games, they were places of connection. Friendships began there. Memories were made there. Even adults were drawn in, sometimes watching children or younger siblings play, occasionally smiling at clever tactics, or recalling themselves from years past. At that time, Pac-Man, Space Invaders, and other games were not just entertainment, they were cultural icons. They marked the boom of an industry, reflected a spirit of exploration, creativity, and simple joy that anyone, regardless of age, could enjoy. Arcades became a part of youth itself, and the memories of them would live on forever, like the flickering lights of an old screen that you happen to stumble upon today. In 1978, a small game appeared, and it instantly changed the way people experienced entertainment. Space Invaders, created by Tomohiro Nishikado. On the black and white screen, rows of aliens advanced steadily toward the player, each step marked by an escalating series of blips. The sound, seemingly simple, made hearts race, filled players with an indescribable thrill. Players sat intently, hands gripping the controls tightly, eyes glued to the screen, so focused that time around them seemed to disappear. Each time a row of aliens was hit, a small thrill spread through the body. And when failure came, a gentle pang of disappointment urged players to try again, stronger, faster. Each play lasted only a few minutes, yet it left a lasting imprint on memory. Arcades back then were always crowded. Teenagers gathered around machines, shouting, cheering when friends scored high. Laughter and rhythmic tones blended into a lively symphony of youth. Space Invaders was more than a game, it was a shared experience, where people competed, celebrated victories, consoled one another in defeat. Every win felt like an achievement, every loss, a lesson in perseverance. What made Space Invaders special was its rhythm. The quickening blips as the aliens drew nearer, making hearts beat in sync with their steps. Beyond skill or reflexes, the game taught patience, observation, and anticipation of an opponent's moves. These small lessons, unwritten yet powerful, etched themselves into thinking and reflexes. Those afternoons at the arcade, crowded around the machines with friends, cheering or comforting one another after each turn, were simple yet precious moments. Space Invaders was not just a game, it was thrill mingled with excitement, laughter, friendship, and a piece of youthful memory that never fades. Just 2 years later, in 1980, another game appeared. And it immediately captured the hearts of all ages. Pac-Man, created by Toru Iwatani. Unlike the shooting or action-packed games of the time, Pac-Man offered a completely new experience, simple, cheerful, full of color. The image of the round, bright yellow Pac-Man darting through the maze while dodging mischievous ghosts captivated everyone, from children to adults. The playful blips, the continuous munching of dots, and the familiar Waka Waka became a delightful soundtrack of youth. Every level completed was a small victory. A simple yet profoundly satisfying sense of achievement. Players didn't just interact with the machine, they interacted with each other. Groups of friends gathered around, cheering when someone ate the first cherry, shouting in delight when Pac-Man escaped a dangerous ghost. These little races weren't merely tests of skill, they were bonding moments, where laughter, shared joy, and friendly competition created lasting memories. Pac-Man taught many lessons, but the simplest was the joy of pure fun. No violence, no war, just a small adventure where mistakes were allowed, retries encouraged, every moment savored. When Pac-Man avoided the ghosts and ate all the dots, it felt like conquering a small, meaningful journey. Afternoons at the arcade, with neon lights reflecting on excited teenage faces, laughter mingling with Pac-Man's playful sounds, were simple yet precious moments. They recalled a time when entertainment didn't need to be complicated, just fun, creative, connecting people. Even now, looking back at old arcade machines, or playing Pac-Man on a phone or modern console, the feeling remains the same as the very first time. A stream of memories rushes back, neon lights, laughter, playful tones, the thrill mixed with happiness. Pac-Man is not just a game, it's a part of youth. A vivid memory that everyone who experienced the arcade carries in their heart. And then, amidst today's busy life, a single image of Pac-Man, a familiar sound, can bring those memories rushing back, reminding you of youthful afternoons, friends laughing beside you, and pure joy that nothing else can replace. Pac-Man and Space Invaders went beyond the boundaries of arcade machines. They were more than games, they became cultural icons. Pac-Man appeared on t-shirts, comics, pop music cassettes, and even in movies and commercials. Space Invaders appeared everywhere, from posters to toys, showing that video games had become a part of everyday life. Arcades became social hubs. You didn't just go to play, you went to meet friends, to show your skills, to share laughter. Groups of friends gathered around machines, cheering at victories, consoling losses, sometimes playfully arguing over who was truly the best. These seemingly small moments etched themselves deeply into memory, becoming treasured pieces of youth. Arcades were also places to learn patience, observation, and strategic thinking. With each game, you learned to face challenges while experiencing pure joy. Adults were drawn in too, smiling as they watched children or neighbors play, sometimes remembering themselves years ago. The atmosphere of an arcade was a magical mix of excitement, fun, and connection. Each flashing screen, each playful blip, reminded everyone that these experiences were more than games. They were symbols of an era, witnesses to youth, a communal heartbeat found nowhere else. Today, looking back at old arcade machines, or replaying Pac-Man or Space Invaders on modern devices, the feeling is unchanged. Neon lights, playful tones, laughter, excitement, all return like a stream of memories flowing back through time. You can stand before an old Pac-Man machine, Drop a coin in, and suddenly feel your youth rushing back. The feeling is not just joy, it's connection to yourself, to friends, and to a time when life seemed simpler, yet profoundly meaningful. A small game, a few minutes of pressing buttons, and you become part of a bigger story, a story of joy, competition, and friendship. Arcades created simple but precious moments. They remind us of summer afternoons when playful tones echoed among laughter, when friends shared small victories, and when failure became motivation to try harder. Those memories never fade. They live in your heart. And a single familiar image or sound can bring them rushing back, vivid and full of emotion. Pac-Man and Space Invaders have stood the test of time. They are symbols of youth, cultural landmarks, proof that the simplest moments can become eternal. Cherish those memories. Share your story. Because an arcade is not just a game, it's a piece of youth. A part of memory you will carry for a lifetime. And as the lights of the arcade machine slowly fade in memory, remember that those moments still live vividly in your heart. Pac-Man, Space Invaders, they are not just games, but doors back to youth, laughter, and simple yet complete joy. If this story has made you smile, if memories rush back with every blip and flickering light, hit subscribe to explore more nostalgic tales and memories of youth you thought were forgotten. Share your arcade moments in the comments. Every story is part of the journey we share together. And next time you stumble upon an image or a familiar sound, let the memories flow. And remember, youth never truly leaves, it's just waiting for you to recall it.